we both grew up in Victoria. I took up a role as a youth pastor at the Salvos, and Jenny was a member of that church, which was good.
And I wanted nothing to do with him because his friend tried to set us up.
Sometimes our friends aren't necessarily the most helpful, are they? So we had a common friend, which was quite funny, who ended up being part of our wedding party anyway. But yeah, so I was really fortunate to be able to take a secondment to Queensland in the work that I was doing, looking after schools that were running the hands-on learning program. And it was great to be able to support them in Geelong and Western Victoria. But then this opportunity came up to be in Brisbane looking after schools in Queensland, and it's been great to be here. Our kids, we sort of ran it past our kids and they said, yes, not please go, we think you should go. And that was quite funny, that whole discussion, that whole process. But I guess the other part that was good was that I think it also worked for Jenny too, because Jenny wasn't, her health wasn't 100% and needed a break, and sometimes our workplace can be a bit tiring, and I think it was good that she was able to take long service leave and have that time off, which meant that she could have a rest in a new place, in a new space, and just do something new and different.
I wasn't planning on us staying for as long as what we have. I sort of said that 12 months and that's it, we're going back, but God had different plans, and I've actually been very appreciative of it. Came up in 2018, so 3 years, yeah.
It's great that you've been able to tell me that you only had a 12-month plan. What a crack up that is.
We were having 12 months off. I had long service leave and then annual leave, and it made it out to, I think it worked out to December of 2018, and then I would be ready to go back and start in January. So I had it planned in my head. But by August there were new plans.
I'm so glad we confirmed those before you left.
As Dave said, my health, I'd had a few health challenges. Work in Geelong was quite intense in the place where I was working, and I didn't really see that until I had left there. And so to come and then to go back, I would come back from having visited down there, and it would take me quite a few days to get over just the stress and the trauma and the stuff that was happening down there. Not necessarily with our children, but my mum also has dementia, so that has a challenge within itself. And then I found an awesome job which I really love, so it was sort of like, well, if I could take this job and move back there, would that work? So it's kept us here instead. I think I came to a real revelation of how much God really meant to me when I was sick. I had gone through a few health challenges, and then had to have an operation and then have chemo after that. So having those sorts of things happening, sort of questioning God as well and saying, why is this happening to me? I don't do this, I don't do that, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. And actually having other people say to me, but you don't do this and I do, so why has it happened to you? Actually challenged my faith and made me think about what was it that God wanted to teach me out of it, but also what can I do to teach others, and how will I respond? And although I felt challenged at times, thinking, I don't know where this journey is going to end or where it's going to take me and how long it's going to be, it was really good to be able to stand firm and be positive within myself. That wasn't easy. And there would often be times when I would think that I was by myself. But yeah, just to be able to really draw on God and ask Him to walk with me daily through all the challenges. It's not easy. There's different circumstances now that come up that have nothing to do with my health, that, in your workplace, there's challenging behaviours, or there's difficult staff members or difficult parents, or, there's things that will happen that you have to go, okay, God, help me to respond in the right way. So just really draw on His strength, yeah.
I know that God tells us in His Word everything that we need to help us in each of our daily lives. So whether it's about praising Him because that puts us in not just a spiritual but a mental space that's better for tackling some of those difficulties. And then he adds the spiritual element to it as well. Or whether it's about just treating other people how you would like to be treated, and in your workplace being understanding about some of those challenges that you might have. I think the other part that I really love too is the reminder that God is interested in the small things about my life, as we think he should be interested about the big things in the world. When I remind myself how much he loved me to die for me before I even cared about him, and then he's interested in some of those other small things in my life that I think, he might not be interested in necessarily. It just completely changes the way you think about your day and your life and the opportunities that he's creating. And as we've been reminded even today, that some of those hurdles that we come across aren't ones because we've done something wrong, but just that that's part of life. What did Jenny do to get sick? Not much that I know of, but it just turns up sometimes that way, and things do happen that I guess are a good reminder about who we are and who he is and what he's trying to teach us. When you're in the middle of something, it's not always that easy to have that different perspective on those things, and that's why it's good to bounce off each other and ask those things, or other Christian friends, and that's why we need to read his word, because it's the consistent thing that reminds us to be strong. There's a good reminder in the Old Testament where they were asked, having crossed the river, to take out 12 stones and put them in a pile as a reminder that, hey, when you get back here again, this is the reminder of what happened, just in case you've forgotten that you just walked through a dry riverbed that was flooded. And I think God expects us to do that today too. Remind ourselves of the things that he's done. We need to remind each other of the things that he's done, and remind each other that this didn't happen just out of a fluke. And as we stepped out in faith with him and in the doors that were opened, how much it became obvious and how much there was a confirmation that he made it right.
I was just thinking, even in the last week, I was at one of the programs that I assist with at the school, and just having a discussion with a mum and sort of saying she wanted to, and I actually don't even really know how we got onto it, but she wanted a Christian playgroup, and I said, well, we run playgroup here, we have people from the church come here so you can meet other Christian ladies. I go to Riverlife, and she goes, oh, that's where I rang. And so just that whole, the little connection without actually saying right from the start, that's where I go, that's what I do. We just sort of struck up this conversation. So I sent Dave a message after that saying, God's got us in the right spot. Even though we think we're going through a tough time at the moment, he's got us where he wants us. So yeah, it was a reassurance of, this is where you're meant to be.